Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Barbecue, Bourbon and Business podcast show. My name is Helena, and joining me is my very good friend and business partner, Luke. Hi, Luke.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome again. It's great to have you here.
Another episode, yay! Building a business should be fun. So in between sampling some good bourbons and sharing a few backyard barbecue tips, we are going to be sharing practical, no-nonsense strategies to help you stop trading time for money, turn your business into a valuable asset, and build a smart business engine that gives you the freedom to enjoy the things you love. Things like backyard barbecue with family and friends and sipping on some very good bourbon. In the last episode, we discussed the 7 sequential steps that every business must take to build not just a successful business, but a valuable business. Everything in life has a sequence, and building a business is no different. If you missed the last episode, click back through and listen to it because it has shaped the lives of so many business owners on a personal and professional level, and we've loved sharing them with everyone. If you want to know more about the 7 steps, we cover them in depth in our free online business training workshop, 7 Steps Building a Smart Business Engine to Give You Time and Money Freedom. I'll pop the link below in the podcast so you can have a look. In this episode, we are going to be focusing on the very first step, which is optimizing your mindset, specifically looking at your personal brand. 100% of the time, you are your business. It doesn't matter if you are selling a product or a service, you as a business owner represent your business. So tonight we're going to measure your Moron Scale, which I'm super excited about. But before we begin, let's do our favorite part of the night and pour ourselves a drink. Our new bourbon of the month, as you heard in the last episode, is Eagle Rare Kentucky Straight Bourbon. We had a little bit of chat about this one and why we love it so much. Luke, how's yours?
Good as always.
Did you cook anything special on the Weber this weekend?
I sure did. And I think our barbecue fans will love this. So I'm a Weber kettle fan. I'm certainly not an expert, but I'll try to pretend I'm one. What I cook regularly is wood smoked pizzas on just a Weber kettle, so no fancy equipment. And this weekend I cooked hickory smoked red wine truffle salami and basil pizza. Now that sounds really fancy, but it's actually very, very, very easy to make. So what you do, you simply go and buy a base. I don't make my own bases. You get a base, your favorite base, if you like thin or fatter ones. You make sure you've got a nice seasoned pizza sauce. So make sure seasoning is key. You get some stuff that's very bland. So if you get bland pizza sauce, make sure you put salt and pepper on, or you can buy them pre-made that are nice, got a bit good garlics and herbs and
maybe some rosemary.
Cool. Yeah, so that's your base, right? It must be seasoned. And then what you do is you put pizza cheese from the supermarket, nothing fancy, and then you just go to your deli and if you can get a red wine truffle salami, it is absolutely amazing. And you simply put the cheese first, because often you get asked to put the cheese on top, on the bottom, and again, everyone can do whatever the hell they want. I prefer a bit of cheese. Now, I find if you go absolutely nuts on the cheese, the pizzas become very soggy.
Yeah, I remember telling you about that, going, why is my pizza soggy?
Yeah, so the oil seeps in and it makes it soggy. Some people like it like that, that's fine. But my family likes crispy pizzas on the Weber. So I get a thin base, I put like a small layer of cheese, put your truffle salami on, and then you just put basil pesto, like little bits of basil pesto around. And then I like to do a little bit of mozzarella cheese, like to melt into the pizza cheese. And then this is like a little secret, I think, because not many people, when I see them making pizza, do this. Again, is seasoning. So a good sprinkle of black pepper, but here's like a little secret. Put white pepper. So white pepper is fragrant. Yeah. Black pepper is more tasty. But the combination really makes a beautiful flavor. You need salt, but again, salt's like a thing. Don't go too nuts on salt. Some people like it salty, some people don't. But you have to have salt, right? And then all you do, your chimney, your Weber chimney, when you're putting your coals, must be at full. This is a hot cook.
Are they underneath or
No, so good. They are indirect, right?
But on the sides, yeah.
If you've got a small Weber, you probably want to put one basket on the side so that you don't burn the base of the pizza. You don't put the base of the pizza over the coals because obviously you're going to burn the base, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got a wide, like the bigger Webers, you can fit pizzas in there if you put the baskets either side. So you're cooking indirect, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And what you want to do is you want to make the coals and you want to get that Weber really, really hot first. And then you quickly open it, put your pizza on, chuck a small handful of hickory chips. It's a little bit because pizza's delicate. You put the lid on and I cook it for about 5 to 6 minutes one side. I open the lid and I spin it 90 degrees. Just to circulate. Now, again, depending on the Weber and how hot your fire is and how much cheese and base, but generally my pizzas are cooked anywhere between 7 to 12 minutes in total, depending on, again, conditions. Trust me, it is absolutely beautiful. Give it a go and please let us know how you get on.
Yeah. Are you a pizza stone man or do you go straight onto the grill?
I go straight on the grill. Again, good thing you asked me a very clever question.
Yeah, we do pizza stone.
Yeah, some people do it. I've never got the pizza stone formula right. I just like it direct on the grid. I prefer a little bit of the burnt crisps underneath, like the flares and things. But yeah, lots of people cook on stone. So give it a go. The main thing is the smoke. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so summer's coming up here into Australia, so there's going to be plenty of people Webering. So we actually have some recipes on our website. So if you hop onto Barbecue, Bourbon and Business,
I'll put that one up as well.
We'll pop the pizza one on there as well. And please, let us know how you go. We'd love to see you taking some photos of what you're doing and share it with us. We love being involved with everyone. This isn't just about us. We'd love to see what you're all doing and what you're all drinking. So talking about drinking, pour yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's talk about this episode, the Moron Scale.
Okay, so this episode we're going to have a lot of fun. There's going to be some good laughs. It's a humorous topic, but there is actually a very serious component to this, which I'll get to. So in the last episode, we talked about sequencing and building a business. You should be building a business that does the work for you, a smart engine, so that you can genuinely start trading time for money. This should be a goal in your business, not only trying to make money. And you should also have a goal of trying to have a valuable asset. You're working 5, 10, 15 years in your business. You don't want to get to the end of it and think, well, what is this thing worth? And find out it's worth a fraction because you haven't done the right things of creating value throughout the period of owning a business. And so that's where the 7 steps come in, which is really the philosophy of this whole podcast, is building an engine to help you do the right things. And so today is all about step 1 and optimizing your mindset. Now, mindset it's one of those things that people either embrace or run and dive into the cupboard, right? And so this is where the Moron Scale and what your score comes into it. So let's discuss what I mean by moron. It's just someone who does something in public to annoy other people, but they're so completely oblivious to the fact that they're annoying anyone. Most times they have actually no idea, because they're so self-absorbed in their own world, or they're just dumbasses. They don't even know what the hell's going on. So let me give you some examples. You have the shopping cart moron. So you go into a shopping supermarket and you go down the aisle, and then there's this moron with their shopping cart parked sideways, blocking the entire aisle, and there's people queuing on that side, people queuing on this side. It's full to the brim, and they're talking on their phone. And most people are so polite, they're trying to wait for the moron to move out the way, but the moron doesn't. So eventually when you kick them and say, can you please get out the way, they look at you with the death stare from hell and like, what's your problem? Like, what's wrong? So that has to be like a 9 out of 10 on the Moron Scale. And what would you give them, Eleanor?
Those people annoy me. I would give them a 9 out of 10 just because they're so oblivious to what's going on around them.
Okay, so you also have the traffic light moron. So you're at the traffic lights, and the red light, I mean, this is like, we're talking electronics here. So the signal is like, it's faster than the speed of sounds, like nanoseconds, right? And the light goes from red to green, but as the electrons or whatever are flowing down the wire from the red to the green is, the first electron has just touched the green bulb and it hasn't even started, the green glows like just starting, and the moron behind you's got his blasting his horn and shouting at the window, telling you to hurry up and move on, right?
Yeah.
Closest are, you must fly through the front window. Now that's a moron. That's a 7 out of 10. What would you give him?
That drives me insane. I'm always like, if someone's beeping me, I would do 9. I was like, that's insensitive.
Well, okay, and then you get the talking in a cinema moron, right? So you're sitting there romantically with your wife or whatever, your whatever, and then the clown behind you, his phone rings on number 300.
Yeah.
And he picks it up and he starts talking and he's laughing. Wow. And you're in the cinema and you think, who the hell does this? Well, that's what the moron does. So he's got to have what scores he's got on the radar.
So I want to do, okay, fine. I'll just pick another one. I'll be like an 8. An 8. Because you can control that kind of stuff.
I'll give you one more, right? But you're getting the point that that's a moron scale. Well, they don't. That's why they're morons. And so the next one is, I can't decide what I want when I get to the takeaway counter, moron, right? So it's Friday night, you've had a hard week, the kids are screaming in the car, and you go into the KFC or McDonald's and there's a queue from hell, and you're waiting and waiting and everyone's irritable, they want to get home, and there's this dude in front of you, and you've been waiting, and everyone knows because they've had 20 minutes, they've checked everything except the moron in front of you. He gets there and he goes, can I have, now, what is this bucket? And he spends $150 over 15 minutes and he changes his mind 5 times. Now, that's another moron, right?
Yeah.
What, that's another 9 in my books, right? So
can you imagine the aggravation of the people behind him? Like, oh.
Exactly. So what am I talking about here? Moron traits lead to what you call a personal brand, right? We all have personal brands. This is what other people think of us. And this is what happens when you get branded. And I'm coming to serious stuff, so just bear with the humor. It's part of the show. Let me have a little. Right, so this is what happens when you come personally branded around people who know you, which I'm coming to in business, right? So you got like cousin Dwayne, Uncle Horace, and Auntie Sybil. And they branded as, oh my God, not them family. Right? Every family's got this lot that rocks up when everyone cringes. Right?
But you don't want to be around.
So Dwayne's 47, lives at home, he collects dead insects. Auntie Sybil, says Dwayne's still working out what's right for him in his life, and she doesn't want to push him to the wrong career in case he makes a mistake. And, then they come to the Christmas barbecue, the dog starts howling and shaking, jumps in the fridge, the grannies have to hide the good crockery away because, this lot just doesn't know how to use them and we're going to break them. And there's more than 2 plates at the setting and a couple of knives, forks, spoons. And cousin Dwayne thinks this is multiple choice and he has to win the prize and tell all his insects. And aunties Cyril and Horace, they have to take turns to eat because they got one pair of teeth between them, right? This is like, this is due. The families have traits, right? And they're now branded as the moron family. Every family's got this back. When they come, everyone dives for cover. So what I'm saying is, we all of us are morons to a certain degree, right? And we all have a moron scale reading. Most of us just don't know it. We have traits that are brought to our attention sometimes we acknowledge it. Most people hate to be criticized, so they fob it off. Or, you have these things, like the higher your moron scores, you'd end up being branded like cousin Dwayne, right? Now, what does this have to do with business? Well, everything. And you probably want to write this down because people buy you first. They buy your image first. your product or your service second. You know, what happens in business is people focus on business marketing strategy, sales strategy, negotiation, digital marketing, my website, and all these things that are going to make them successful in business. But there's you sitting here on the side. And depending what you read on the Moron Scale, depends on how you're going to be successful in business. So if you have a high moron reading, what's going to happen? You are damaging your personal brand and you're sabotaging your business. So like your personal branding, people, if you do things like that irritates people, then people say, oh my God, not that idiot, I'm not buying from him. Boy, he's incompetent. Boy, he's always late. He's so unreliable, definitely not trustworthy. Maybe you're not congruent with your message. So I don't know, if you're selling how to get rich on the stock.
Yeah. You're selling healthcare product or health products for like having a healthy lifestyle, but you're overweight. Or
if you rock up with your stomach in a wheelbarrow, people are just not going to believe you, right? Like if you go to the stock, you're selling stock markets, you rock up with your car's got 3 wheels, a broken door, you get out the car, your pants are healthy, with stretchies. You got your grandpa's briefcase with nails in it. That is not a congruent message. People are not going to believe you, so they start branding you in a negative way. And you know, in my first business, ego was a big thing, right? This is what I call like self-sabotaging traits or limiting beliefs. These are all add to your personal branding. And in my first business, because I had such a big ego as a kid, and because we had so much success, and I thought I knew everything. I really did learn a lot about business, and I could say I was very skilled at business in certain ways and disasters in others, but I won awards and things. But personally, my personal side, my personal branding was a disaster. My ego destroyed their business, right? And that's ultimately what happened. It had nothing to do with my business strategies. It was me and my personal branding and how my self-sabotaging traits actually wrecked it.
I want to add to that. Like, I feel like if you're young, like if at the age of when you started your business, right, or younger, right? If you're younger and you make these social gaffes or whatever, you're still learning about life. Like, it's kind of excusable, but kind of not, because you're a detriment to yourself, but you're still learning, right? But if you've been a business owner for a really long time and you're still like not self-aware of yourself, like if you've been a business, you're an adult, you've been a business owner for a really long time, like you should be aware of what your personality and your brand is by now and aware of yourself. But sometimes people aren't. There are still some things that you haven't picked up on, which we're going to cover soon as well. So, well,
this is the thing. A lot of people don't. And the people who resist this the most, like self-development, taking a look in the mirror, are afraid. It's the truth, but no one will admit it. I don't take criticism, I don't do this, blah, blah, blah. So there's all the masks and facades, which I'm coming to in a sec.
Yeah.
But every single one of us has a personal brand. It's how the world sees us. And usually our perception of our own personal brand is very, very different to how others see us. You know, most people think they're marvelous, right? But that's not really the truth, right? And people start to form an impression of you within 3 seconds. And after, you know, it's even less than 3 minutes, they've already started to cement and decide in their head whether they like you or not. And I think it's after 3 or 5 minutes, whatever it is, it's a very short space of time. They have personally branded you based on how you showed up in their eyes. Right? And you haven't started business yet. You haven't even said hello, how's your granny, nothing yet. They've got this vision or the image that you're reflecting has cast in their eyes your personal branding of how you've rocked up. Now, the thing about this thing is why it's so dangerous in business is because the human nature, if you make a decision that is congruent to your body, you've made a decision based on your beliefs and values and blah, blah, blah. And this is the decision. This guy's a moron. It doesn't matter now how fancy his pitch is or her pitch is and how good the product and service is, because at the back of your mind, you made a stance before they even started speaking. This guy's a clown. He's a moron. Whatever his reasons were that didn't gel with you, now he's trying to big fancy pitch. And you have this conflict, oh, you know, maybe he's not so bad. This product seems good, but then back you say, well, this guy's a clown.
Yeah.
That is what you call self-sabotaging, right? And that's a disaster in business. And this applies both online and offline. And yes, online, you're probably news to most people, but your online presence is your personal brand. And if you ever wonder why your social media marketing doesn't work or your website marketing sucks, whatever, you can do the strategies to death of digital marketing and new logos and product prices and specials. Take a look at your personal branding and, take a look at your Moron Scale reading.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Well,
yeah. So I want to add to that. Like we talk about branding quite a lot, and we talk about social media and how you perceive yourself. There's a side of like pretending to be someone for your business, and then there's actually being yourself. But if yourself is being a detriment to your business, then you need to have a look at some of those traits that might be affecting you. And you're right, Luke, when you're talking about, it's like someone makes an impression of you within the first 5 seconds. It doesn't matter how fancy your sales pitch is. You end up having to crawl your way back to a position where they might buy. So that's a big thing for people that they don't realize. It's like and it doesn't matter how friendly you are. It doesn't matter how good your product is. It doesn't matter how good your sales pitch. They've already made an impression in your mind. And that goes for social media, because if you're having a meeting with someone's already checked you out. They've already gone to your LinkedIn. So like, think about how you're perceiving yourself online and offline, because someone's already checking you out before you even get a chance to even see them. And that's a big thing.
100%. People today scope you out. They brand you before they even spoken to you. So what do you want to do? Well, you want to create the best version of yourself. Your personal branding must be one that is successful, right? One that appeals to your customers, not chases them away. So you must create a personal brand that reflects your best qualities, your talents, and your natural gifts you have to offer the world. So how do you do this? Well, there's 3 techniques that we teach and we use. Number 1 is called facing the mirror. Number 2 is coming clean. And number 3 is your new best version. So let's start on number 1, facing the mirror. So here's a little exercise, right? And you may want to pause this if you're watching the YouTube video or pause the podcast and do this little task. I promise you this will change your life. We've seen it happen for hundreds of people. Task number 1, your personal brand. So I want you to write down a little paragraph, not an encyclopedia, just a few lines. What would people say about you behind closed doors when you're not around? Now you need to do this now, not until I get through, otherwise it wrecks it, right? You want to see changes, do what I'm saying right now. Stop this and answer this question. What would people say about you right now behind closed doors? What do you think they would say about you? So write that down and then come back. And
they could be negative or positive, right? So let's not try and
No. Yeah. You write what people think, not whatever. What do you think people think of you? Whatever comes naturally. Don't overthink this. Write it down. The second part is coming clean. Right? So take your piece of paper that you've done and put it aside. What you want to do now is you want to start identifying your self-sabotaging traits and limiting beliefs. Now, for some people, this is going to be freaky. Well, that's why you have a bit of bourbon.
Yeah, I was like, get a drink. Pour yourself a big one, because this is a...
And what I'm going to ask you to do is remove the masks, right? Most people wear their masks to show the world how they want to be seen, but you are who you are. And these masks are your anchors holding you back. You can't live a life trying to be someone else. That's what the Kardashians are, right? Just think about what I'm telling you, right? How can you blossom to the most magnificent version of yourself if you're more interested in trying to copy everyone else, like all these lunatics roaring around on these TV shows, they're unfulfilled lunatics, morons, right? Self-sabotaging traits. See which one resonates with you. I'm going to list a whole lot now. And then try and remove your mask and come clean. And as I go through the list, write down be honest, write down here, that's me, that could be me, etc. So the first one is priorities. What do you focus on every day if you're in business? This is a business show, right? Are you focused on making money, keeping yourself busy, thinking you're focused on the cash and growing a business? Are you focused on activities that take you closer to your goals, or focused on stuff that takes you further away from them? For example, you're focused on selling, joint ventures, getting leads, making cold calls, or are you playing with the dog, watching TV, booking your holidays, relaxing, socializing, doing your hobbies? Right? The next one is clarity. Do you know what you really want? Or are you foggy? Are you unclear of where you want to go and how you can get there? Because the truth is, if you don't know where you want to go, how are you ever going to get there? The third one's level of commitment. Like, how badly do you want this business to succeed? Or how badly do you want to change something in your business if you're struggling or burning out, or the business is running you, or you're not really, you haven't got a quality of life because your business is killing you. How badly do you want to change this? How committed are you ready to achieving your goals? What are you really prepared to sacrifice to make that change, whatever's going on? Or are you so focused on what you're not prepared to do, so you just carry on? 4, trying to save money to get rich. So saving money doesn't make you rich. It's not enough. You have to learn how to grow your money and get your money working for you. Are you prepared to stand on the shoulders of mentors, like every single successful person in the world, not in business, athletes, whatever, successful educators, whatever, right? There's mentors and people before them. Or you're far too clever, or you're trying to save money, you're going to work this out by yourself, right? The same story you've been telling yourself for 10 years, that you're going to get out of this mess, or you're so far behind you think you're coming first. This is the killer, right? This is the mindset of a peasant, an unsuccessful mindset. The greatest people of all time across everything in the world have had mentors, but you are too smart, you can think you can do this alone. I mean, you've broken the Moron reading, right? Number 5 is action. Theory can't make you rich. You need to take action. You need to transact to make money. You need to make change. If you're in an engine that's burning you out, if your business is burning you out, if you've got a bad quality of life, you need to take action. You can't read books and theories and go to seminars. You have to do something, right? So what are you doing each day as far as action is concerned, not all the theory of what's going to happen and one day you're getting around to it, right? We're so gifted at telling ourselves and others why we don't get the results or do something, and then we defend our position, but really, what does this do to your personal brand? People can't rely on you. Here he goes again with these big sad stories why nothing gets done. He's a dropkick, he's insecure, he's fearful, he's got no spine, he's unmotivated. This is the truth, what people are saying behind you if you're a moron, right? So this is the consequence of wearing all these masks that you think you're putting on this, this big facade, and the world is seeing you at this big bravado, whatever. It doesn't happen, right? And the next one is personal growth. Like, this was my biggest thing as a kid. Personal growth. What is this rubbish? Some voodoo nonsense, right? It's true. There was no, like I said, the people who reject this the most need it the most, and I was that person. And there was a life transformational journey for me. There was painstaking getting all the madness out of me, embracing the fact that there is a bigger person waiting inside of you to do bigger things in life. And I was so flawed on so many levels of all my limiting beliefs around money and things, which I'll touch on in a sec, and trying to be a perfectionist and all this rubbish that was from my childhood, and all the masks and all this carry on. And eventually, holding this whole facade up all the time, it burns you out.
It does.
Right? I know, because I've been there, I've burnt out, lost everything. So I tell you from a place of compassion and from reality. Big egos overpowers the brain. You fight change. You stand your ground. You're too clever. At the end of the day, you're a moron. I was a moron. Broke the scale. literally broke the business, right? So,
oh, Luke, I just want to add, I feel like
Yeah.
the thunder and lightning, if anyone's watching this on YouTube, and if you're not, hop onto our YouTube channel, Barbecue Bourbon Business. There's like lightning and thunder happening behind Luke, and he's like the hammer of God trying to crack your shell open, going, like, open yourself up, take into account who you are. Yeah. It's like, look at yourself. Stop lying to yourself.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read out a whole lot of things. And again, I want you to circle on what reflects with you. So here are some common, self-sabotaging beliefs or limiting beliefs, whatever you want to do, call them. And the truth is that the underlying rod of everything is fear. But fear comes out in hundreds of different masks. So let's go through. So do you have a fear of selling? Do you have a fear of speaking to people? Do you have a fear of rejection? Therefore, you don't go into situations to grow your business or make change.
Hunting out leads, yeah.
Someone says, I told you so, or whatever. Do you have a fear of criticism? Do you have a fear of success? Now, I know people say, what are you talking about? Yes, some people have a fear of success. As soon as things start going well, they jump back in the cupboard. They do. It's like, it is one of those things, right? Do you have a fear of looking like a fool? So therefore, everything's always composed and cross laughing and then, do you have a fear of what people think of you? And do you have a fear of confrontation? Now, I don't mean talking about in a bar and beating up the bar lady. I'm talking about if your suppliers let you down or whatever's happening, do you pick up the phone and demand that something gets done because you've got customers who paid and your reputation is on the line because they're letting you down? Do you have it in you to go and confront the situation and sort it out, or you let your suppliers and clients and whoever to steamroll you? Right? You can't make a decision. You procrastinate. You're unmotivated. You're disorganized. No stickability. Start one thing, becomes a bit hard, then you start another thing, that bit's a bit too hard, then you start another thing, and another thing, and another thing. Stickability. As soon as a little road bump, turn the car around, roll back into the garage. Start again, everything's rosy till you hit a bump. Are you unfocused? Do you have issues with rich, successful people? Now, this is a very common thing. In the neighborhood and social wealth thing, when I grew up, I didn't have rich parents, we weren't poor, but there was a lot of things about rich people, even all this rubbish, right? This morons telling you this crap when you're a kid. And so you believe the stuff, right? And that affects you in business because you think, well, if I actually do make it in business, become successful, I'm going to be evil. Do you treat others with little respect? Are you trustworthy and have credibility? I mean, obviously this will be one everyone puts a big mask on, but behind the scenes, what's really going on? Because you're going to get caught out and then your personal brand's stuck. Are you reliable and punctual? Or do you have stories? I mean, this is the morons, right? Oh no, my car broke down, the budgie's piano broke, dog's roller skates are lost and blah. And every time there's a story. Like you can understand someone once late or maybe twice, but no, the morons have got these stories lined up and are so convincing. It's unbelievable. But eventually, you know what I mean? The masks fall off and people see who you are. Are you aligned to your message, which I spoke about earlier? Are you congruent to what you're selling? Level of attractiveness. Now, I don't make the rules about this, but if you are get out of bed, don't comb your hair, don't clean your teeth, don't iron your clothes, you got shoes broken, held together by tape. If you don't make a positive professional appearance, and even if you're casually dressed, you can look like someone who's just fallen back of a donkey giving birth. Or can you look at like something realistic? Like this is the truth of how it is. You have to have a level of attractiveness or pride.
I think pride, not attractiveness. So pride in the way you looked. So we're not saying be Elle Macpherson or this supermodel, just tidy, clean. Like I can't even tell you how many times I've had drunk or salesmen that still smell like they're drunk from the day before. What do you think my first initial impression is?
Don't get confused when I say tractivist, like you have to look like whatever the hell. I'm talking about your personal grooming is probably the best word. Like make an effort to look the best you can, not like someone who's just fallen out of a haystack. Like seriously, you want to be taken serious. Do you get results? Or are you one of the people who just never seems to get stuff worked out? Because that means you got full of anchors and personal issues going on. You have to look at that. Can you actually influence people that people just don't take you seriously? Do you have low self-esteem, self-belief? And this is a real serious one because a lot of people have this, right? Like again, I've had many things. I'm open and honest about it now. When I was a kid, I would fight you if you told me that. I'd box you. I would, because you're criticizing me, and my structure was so fragile. I'll box you. Now I'm open and I understand how stupid I was. I was a moron. So when you say about low self-esteem, a lot of people have this. And how does this affect your business? Well, if you're trying to sell a product that's worth $180 your service, but you've got a low self-esteem, you're not going to charge that because you don't believe people ever buy it. So you sell it for $25. You've sabotaged your business.
You got a low self-worth as well as low self-esteem. Yeah.
So are you astute or blasé? Can't say no. So you just take on stuff and burn yourself out and nothing gets done and therefore you're ineffective and people start branding you as a moron. Are you a perfectionist? Now this is one of the things I had to deal with. My father was always on my case as a kid about do this right and do this right and do this right and don't do this and this is no good and do it again. It might sound very fancy. It's not. It's a pain in the ass because everything you do, you're criticizing yourself. And that's no good in business. You need to get on and do stuff. You have to set standards and do things satisfactory to your job, but trying to reach perfection, you never reach perfection. Perfection drives you mad in the head. So that's one of my things, right? So this is like circle the truth here.
We see this in a lot of people, right? Like we see this in a lot of business owners where they're like, it has to be perfect before I release this. Like the font's not right, the color's not right. It's like, you're ready. Just go. How will you ever know if your product or service works? You will never have that thing perfect. How are you ever going to know until you get out into the market?
The underlying thing is fear of criticism. Someone will say, that's not good. Like, how can you have a business and you go, that's all rubbish, right? It's all stuff in your head. Different to setting standards and levels, completely different. Trying to reach perfection, you can never reach perfection. Never. Always have to be right. Again, I've seen many leaders of businesses, big businesses, who still got this anchoring thing, and they wonder why their team culture sucks. Because the staff are doing, and the boss, the leader, I wouldn't say he's a leader, stands his ground. He's the boss. He's never ever wrong. That is just no good, right? People are not that stupid. It's a disaster for culture. Relationships with money. Maybe you don't believe you deserve it. You're scared of asking for it. Like I said earlier, you reflected on self-esteem. But another really important thing is I can't earn money unless I'm like a slave and I've killed myself to earn it. So you can't earn it by being smart. You have to kill yourself because otherwise you don't think you've earned it. That's another massive anchor many people have. And to be honest, I still suffer from that because of how I grew up. And so these are things and marks that you have to deal with and how they stuff up your business. Are you a victim of circumstance? So nothing's ever your fault. It's always someone else's fault. I mean, again, these people, this is a great thing of leaders of companies, bosses, not leaders, where it's never their fault. It's always someone else's. They're always blaming the staff for their stuff ups or whatever because they're the boss and they can just do it. That's a recipe for disaster. You can never have
That's also like in your staff. If you're looking at your staff and they always have an excuse for something or they're always blaming someone else, they're probably not the right person for your team. They're a victim of circumstance, always a circumstance that's made them not complete their job properly, they've missed their task, missed their deadline. That's a big one to look for in people too.
Yeah, so that you definitely want to sort of work those people out. So what I want you to do is I want you to circle those top 3. This is really important that you've written down. the most obvious self-sabotaging traits and limiting beliefs that you think affect you that I bring through. Or maybe I've prompted some that I haven't even read out, because there's actually more than this. So now that you've done this, I want you to do the exercise now that I asked you to do in the first one. We're going to do the next version. So now that I brought this attention to you, and hopefully you are open to this, I want you to redo what I asked you to do. So this is the second piece of paper next to it. Now that you're aware of how many masks you're wearing, and maybe the bell's ringing on your Moron Scale, what are people really saying about you behind closed doors now when I'm around? And if you've done this properly, you should see a stark contrast between the first one I asked you to write. That's why I asked you to do it first, not now, because you probably wrecked the whole thing. But if that, because this is how the world really sees you. Okay, and maybe it's confronting for you, maybe it's not. But if you're ever going to improve and move forward, well, this is what you need to do.
And this is
now
about
the final piece.
This is about being honest with those things that we just talked about. Some people are like, no, that's not me. It's like, is it? You have to be honest with yourself to be able to move forward. If you're open and honest with yourself, then you can change. Then you can change. If you're not, then you're still going to be stuck in the same rut.
Well, the thing is, if you're not, well, then you've got a big anchor around your head. This is one of your sabotaging traits.
Where you think you're perfect, or you think you're the shining light, but you're really not.
Those are all masks for insecurities.
Yeah.
So the last little piece for today is your personal brand version 3. This is your new best version, right? So the first exercise we did was what you thought, or how you thought the world saw you, full of your masks and all the facades you put on, which we all do. The second one was coming clean and saying, you know what, this is me, this is me, this is me. This is how the world really sees me. Now, how are you becoming? Who do you want to be? Right? Do you want to create the best, new, improved version of yourself? That you are taking all these anchors off you so that you can move forward, right? And be the best version of yourself. So the last little exercise for today's podcast is right now, physically write down your new best version of your personal brand. And it will be, what would people say about you now behind closed doors when you're not around? Your new improved version with all your problems removed. And what this should do is reduce your Moron Scale reading.
So that'll be things like, I am not going to be scared to go to networking events and speak to people. I'm not going to be scared to release my product even if it's not perfect. I'm not going to find other things to do just because I don't want to do this scary thing that I'm really scared of doing. So I'm going to find something else that maybe looks like I'm working on my business, but I'm not. So that, we do this with a lot of business owners, and it's a big eye opener to people about how they are stopping themselves from being not just a better person, but a better business owner, and how those personal traits are actually messing up their business and their growth. Would you agree, Luke? Like, we've seen so many business owners go through the same process.
Well, the entire philosophy of this podcast is the 3 F's. So financial freedom without all the Ferraris and helicopters and all that rubbish. So if listen to the previous episodes, I explain this. Time freedom, that you actually can enjoy a quality of life while building a business. And the third thing is mind freedom. And mind freedom means understanding your problems in life. Like, no one's perfect, right? Everyone makes mistakes, and that's okay. But if you're still making the same mistakes 15 years later, well, then you're moron. You haven't evolved, right? And I say this compassionately. I know we're joking, carrying on, but it's true. Like, if you haven't evolved, you can't have peace of mind. And this is really, take these things on board, because every single one of us has got problems in our lives, and we have to learn to address them. And you always try to be the best version of yourself for your family and for your friends and for your customers and your staff and your business, because that then allows you to have peace of mind. Right?
Oh, Everyone, I know that was a big one. That's always a big one when we do this with people. So hopefully it's opened up some of the eyes for you guys to see some of these traits that you may not have seen before, or to now be able to have the confidence to take accountability for change. So I would love to hear from anyone if they're willing to share their self-sabotaging traits. You will be surprised that there's a lot of people going through the same thing. And when conversation gets started and things gets triggered, it's a nice way to be able to talk to someone to see how they've overcome it. And there's plenty of business owners that have gone through the same thing. You're not alone. So what's some of the biggest personal obstacles that you've come through and come over as a business owner? So there might be some of the ones that we mentioned before, there might be others. So just you can let us know on our social media pages, Facebook and Instagram, just at Barbecue Bourbon Business. We'll pop up a post and you can comment on it, and we'd love to get to know you guys. So that's thank you for joining us, everyone. Hopefully you've had a good eye-opening experience. So we, in the next episode, are going to continue looking deeper into the 7 steps of building a smart business engine, so that you are able to build a smart business and turn your business into not just a successful business, but a valuable asset. So in the next episode, Luke's titled Mining Fool's Gold. Do you want to let us know a little bit about that, Luke, and what's happening in the next episode?
Well, we're continuing with the steps, right? Just in case people, this is the first episode, we are working through the 7 steps of how you build a smart business engine, right? And how do you implement these steps into your business to achieve a particular outcome, which is getting your business to do the work for you, giving you more time, and of course, turning a valuable asset, what you just said. So step number 2 in this process is what I call mining fool's gold. And step 2 is all about optimizing your niche. And again, people think, oh, well, I've been in business 15 years. This is for amateurs. No, it's not. If you've been struggling for 5, 10, or 15 years in your business and things are not right, or the chances are maybe you're not in a lucrative niche. Markets change, competitors become more aggressive, but customers buying change, particularly in today's world of technology roaring at a pace from hell. No one can keep up with this. So niches and trends are shifting. And now if you still got a carbon copy printer going and using a Kodak camera, well, and things are struggling, well, maybe your niche has shifted. And so are you like trying to still find gold in a lead mine? So the next episode is all about optimizing your niche. And it doesn't matter if you're brand new or if you're struggling, and maybe your business was doing very well at one stage, or you're struggling to get traction and growth. Well, the first point to look at is your niche optimized? Or are you trying to find gold in the lead mine? And so, you want to find who buys from you the quickest and the easiest, right? Not everyone is your customer. So we want to identify, are you in a lead mine and you're just wasting your time? And maybe you should pack up your business and move it to a gold mine. That's what we're going to look at next week.
That's a big one for everyone. And like you said, it's the same for business owners that have been running for a really long time. Some people get precious about who they think their customers are and their products, right? But like you said, business changes, the world changes, customers' buying patterns change. There's so many business examples that we can give you of big businesses like Netflix. If they had stayed as a delivery system delivering DVDs to your house by mail, do you think they would have survived in this digital age? No. Or Kodak, not like transferring to digital cameras. They're big things, and they're things that people go through all the time. So if you've been in business for a really long time, it is a good time to look at your niche. If you're not selling, we need to have a look at, first of all, who you're selling to before we even have a look at what products you're selling. So if you want to see us live and our friendly faces, Luke's got a cool bourbon hat on. Hop onto our YouTube channel, Barbecue Bourbon Business Podcast Show, to check us out. There really was a lightning storm while Luke was talking, so it was really cool to watch. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to leave us a review. We would really appreciate it. And to make sure you don't miss out on any new episodes, don't forget to subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you prefer to listen to your podcast. That was really fun. Hopefully no one has a huge moron scale.
We all do. We all do. So don't beat yourself up. Like I say, I when I was a kid, I would have outranked all of you. I would have won the prize for the Moron of the Year probably 5 years in a row. So please don't beat yourself up. This is all about evolution and helping you become a better person for all those around you and to help you be successful. So it's all done in the name of compassion. Ka-ching.
Ka-ching, everyone.